I'm your host, Carrie Tibbetts, and it's a really nice day today because we're celebrating our Heroes Day. And if you're following my page today, those of you who commented, I want to thank you for that and saying that yes, them and others should be remembered as well. Um, I made a comment on there that there are a lot more heroes in our country not being recognized. And I also highlighted a few of them because without them, their stamina, their goal, everything about them, that they're no nonsense. Our forefathers is really who I was talking about. The late Captain Keith Tibbetts, the late Dr. Roy MacTaggart, and others who were really very instrumental in seeing that we remained separated back in the days when we were still part of Jamaica, and they were very instrumental along with the attorney, the late Mr. Orman Patton, and others. And yes, they were instrumental in changing our future and making it better for us. We're the Mecca of the Caribbean. Everybody wants to come here because it's so easy to come here and get work and live the Cayman dream. Unfortunately, those of us who thought we were going to live the Cayman dream for the rest of our lives have seen that that has been taken from us, and taken from us in not a very nice way. And it's sad that we have to fight to get a piece of that dream along with a lot of other people that come here and make it their new home, make it their, this is part of who they are now. Anyways, um, some of you are watching me on my portals. I'm on the YouTube live channel, my YouTube live channel. Thank you for joining. And also I've done a Facebook Live. So if you're friends of mine on Facebook, you can also watch it, but it's a public post. So anybody can go to my page actually, and you can see the live feed going on at the same time. There's a couple of things I want to address today with regards to our country and the future of our people in our country and the future of, our native Caymanians in general. We're slowly getting outnumbered, and that's the sad part about it. And it's as if everyone else can get the same rights as us. And, our forefathers were the ones that hustled and bustled and went to sea and built this country along with our four moms, I should say, our foremothers, because they were the ones that were here. They were the bankers, the educators, the homemakers. They built the homes. They saved the money that was sent home, and they helped to construct this country and helped to make it what it is today. And when we see our leaders just handing out our birthright so easily on a platter to anyone who wants to come here, it doesn't matter who you are, because obviously we're not checking, they're doing a full background check on a lot of these individuals to see that they're decent human beings. They're not running from a past life or a life where they have had some criminal background where their names have been changed, and we haven't really gotten that far ahead with our own investigation to see that we're letting in good people. And don't get us wrong, we don't have a problem with people coming and living here. But what we're having a problem with right now is the way the government is structuring that. It's as if they're on this roller coaster to populate this country with a lot of people all at once. And our forefathers, our heroes that we celebrated today, some of them would really be annoyed with the way the system is set up nowadays. They would not have appreciated it one bit, and they would have not seen that that would have occurred. They would have ensured to have maintained those protective rights in our constitution and in our policies to ensure that our children and our people maintained the top citizen in this country, the first citizens in this country. But unfortunately, we have leaders who stripped our first citizen rights away from us and basically watered them down and given them away like they're candy in a candy store. And for whatever reason, their mindsets were on doing that. We're not happy with them. And we want to have some changes, and we're going to get some changes in the very near future. And some of those changes are going to come with a lot of different things that are going to not be happy with, they're not going to be happy with. But if we don't have those changes, we don't make those changes, we're not going to get any further in our country, and our children will have no future. And where are we going to do? We're going to put them on a plane when they turn 18 and say, here's a ticket, some money we saved up for you, go make a life in a foreign country. Really? Is that the future for our children, our native Caymanian children whose forefathers have struggled to make this the country that it is, that so many people love and want to be here? We have to be united as well as citizens of this great country. We need to unite. We're not, we're just, talking about it here on YouTube, my channel, talking about it on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, wherever you were talking about it, under the grape tree playing dominoes, drinking beer on a holiday like today. No, we need to get up now. We need to get up. You need to stand up, because what you must remember, my people, is that you are the majority. You have the power in your hands, both of these hands. You have the power to change a lot of things. Do not be afraid to make that change, because that change is the protection for the future of your children, your grandchildren, and your great grandchildren, that they have a future. If we don't put moratoriums and things and prevent so much of this from happening, and giving out citizen rights to so many people at once in large, big amounts, then there is nothing for our children here. I mean, there's only so much land to go around. And right now we have one big developer in this country who's been allowed by our government, who didn't put a moratorium on them, and they should have, to purchase large parcels of our property. Let me tell you the mindset of that, in case you're not sure, in case you're uneducated as to fact of why this person is buying up all this land, is because the future they see. They look ahead and they see that when there's no land left, they can put any price on it. And what do our children will have to pay? A lot of money for a little piece of this rock that their forefathers born here, and they generational Caymanians. You have to stand up, my Caymanians. You cannot keep sitting down and thinking it's going to work itself out. It's not. Because if it was going to work itself out, for the past almost 30 years, those that we elected would have made sure that it worked itself out. But it didn't. They just made sure that they took our prosperity from us and distributed it globally. That's what they did for us. What are we to say to them? We can't tell them that they can do this and that, because they've put policies and amendments to our Constitution that block us from having a say. But we need to use that vote on election day to really send a very, very, very loud message. Very loud message that could probably be heard in a distant galaxy when we hit it loudly on election day and say, this is enough. Enough is enough. And be careful on election day who you're going to vote for. Because as you all saw from the last election, there were a lot of liars that got elected saying they were independents, and they were indeed members of the party. The party system, we all know, failed. We all know it has failed. It has failed us. It has failed our country. It has only benefited rich, elite, and inward investors and persons who want to come and live here. That's the only thing the party system has benefited. It's not benefited the generational Caymanian, unless you're handpicked and hand selected by the government or whoever, that group, and say, okay, we're not going to give them any problem. We're going to see to it that Miss So-and-so and Mr. So-and-so, Mrs. So-and-so, and so on get what they want in this country. And that's sad, because this is our home too. We have to sit here and go through all the messes, all the changes, everything that's been put to us. We've been so passive in so many ways for so long, and we're such good people. When you think about it, we are very good people, because if we were not good people, we would have blown this country to bits long ago. It would look like one of those Arab countries that's constantly at war. That's what we would look like if we were not good people. But people need to realize that we are good people, and we haven't done that yet. But who's to say what the future will hold? Maybe we'll get enough one day and do it. And I hope that's not the case because we're too beautiful to destroy. But our future must be secured in this country, and our government must do their part to secure our future and the future of our children and grandchildren and so on. And by saying that, they need to amend the Constitution and give us our first citizen rights. Our generational Caymanians are entitled to our first generational rights, our first citizen rights, our multi-generational rights. We are entitled to that. Our government need to wake up and stop saying they're not. They're ignoring it or they don't want to be part of it. It's not what they want. They don't want to touch on it. I'm sorry, but you guys give everybody else who wants to come to this country any rights they want, any rights they ask for. You give it to them. You allow them to have whatever they want. And the minute we step up and say, hey, what about our generational, multi-generational rights? What about our first citizen rights? What about our Native Caymanian rights? It's like bad words in our mouths. And they point fingers at you and they abuse you and they victimize you in every way possible. And that's sad because that's making us look like we're nothing but a country of crabs. Some with power and some without. Some with money and some without. And that's what we're looking like, a country of crabs. Is that really where we want to be headed? Is that the outlook we want the global world to look down at us and see, oh, the Cayman Islands, the tax avoidance jurisdiction, the new word they use now instead of tax haven, of the Caribbean. Look at them. They're a mess. They have abused their people. They don't give their people any rights. They take rights away from them. I mean, when you think about the rights that we have been stripped from, look at the fact that you now have to identify yourself with all the documents that you've been given to you. Your passport tells you what your nationality is. It says it right in here. But although we've allowed a Jamaican, the Chief Justice of the Cayman Islands, Mr. Smelly, to water that down in court saying, oh, it's just a travel document. But it says your nationality and it says where you were born. Then you have the other ID is your birth certificate. Your birth certificate says where you were born and your names of your parents and everything. And I'm pretty sure it says your nationality on there. But if it isn't, then if you were born here, you should be considered a Caymanian. Anyways, my point is this. If we are not going to ensure that our people are protected in all those ways, their IDs, their everything else is protected for them, then what are we doing for them? We're granting newcomers to this country citizenship, and we're giving them a paper that says you are a Caymanian. But our own native Caymanians now have to go after a certain year that they were born and get identified by the documents that we, the government, gave them. So what are we saying? Why don't we just automatically recognize these people? They don't need to go through no application process. Just gather the information because you've all given it to them. The same information you're asking them to bring to you with and apply for, you can access that. And then send them a letter out. Or have them come and pick that letter up and say, yeah, we now have you identified as a Caymanian. Yeah, you're a Caymanian in this country. And, I'm sorry, I need to switch a little bit here because I think one of my instruments is actually going to be losing power here in a minute. Hope not. Anyhow, my other issue is to address this evening actually is employment. A lot of us are out here saying we need a job, we need a job, we need a job. Yeah, there's a lot of us that need jobs. I agree. But how ambitious are you about getting that job? That's the question. Are you very ambitious about getting that job? Because if you're ambitious, then you would go down to the ground floor of the government administration building, take your birth certificate and your passport ID or your voter's card to prove you're a Caymanian, because the only piece of evidence in this country right now proves you're a Caymanian is a voter's card. And if you have a voter's card, nobody needs to ask you for any other documentation to prove you're a Caymanian, because you have to have that in order to vote. Anyways, and only Caymanians can vote. Anyways, um, take that down to the ground floor of the government admin building to the Department of Commerce and Investment and put in your application for a trade and business license. Do it under administrative services, courier services, something that you're good at. Whatever you've done before that you're familiar with and you know you can make money off of it by enterprising yourself. Hey, even administrative services, people pay $50 to complete an application form for them. If you know how to complete application forms, regardless of what they are, work permit, passport, whatever, then you know, there you go. You've got a business. You start a business. Job applications, whatever. And you start a business. And once you start that business, you will get business from businesses that won't hire you. Yes. They would hire you through your own company or your own trade and business license before they will hire you to come and join them, where they have to pay pension, health, and sick days and vacation days for you. So when you contract with that person or that business, that means that they're just contracting through your business and not you personally. But you personally do the work for them, of course. Anyhow, that's what I'm trying to encourage a lot of my Caymanians out there to do. If you are unemployed, start a business. The fee is only $75. And when I met earlier, I think it was around the summer of last year with Minister Hugh, he said that they were going to make that indefinite for a while. And it needs to be indefinite permanently because it helped a lot of Caymanians get work. And it should be something that they shouldn't look at increasing the fee of. Unless you're a big conglomerate with 20, 30 staff, then yeah, okay. If you've gone to that, you've reached that level, then you can afford to pay more in license fees. But as a sole proprietor, one man, one woman type of business, it's only you in it, you're doing the work. Yeah, that should not be any more than the $75 a year. In fact, that should be $75 for 2 years. But, I guess we're thankful we got something out of the government. We didn't push our luck. We're not like the elites who can do that and get away with it. So I encourage you to do that. There's, $75. I'm pretty sure you can find that. And talking about unemployment, I want to get into work attitudes. Yes, there are some of us out here who go to work on the job and just have a really bad attitude. I'm not saying all my Caymanians are that way. No, not all of you are. But they're those in the rot, those bunch of apples in the barrel that's rotting the rest of the good ones that do that. And the reason I'm bringing that up is because we're bringing in so many cheap imported laborers to work for us because you don't want to do certain jobs. And it's not like we're not trying to hire you. It's not like we're not encouraging you to hire you. It's not like we don't want to hire you. I would hire Caymanians right now if they would work for me. No problem. And do it with a good heart. And come to work on time and come to work every day. And don't waste time while you're on the job. And put your hours in that you're being paid for. Don't waste my time. Wasting my time is costing us money, small businesses. And we can't afford to hire persons who are going to do that. And I know I've talked about it in the past about having the work permit with the proverbial noose around certain people's neck, but I am not. I'm a business owner myself, but I don't treat my staff like that. I don't put no noose around their necks. But my point is, if you want to get somewhere in life, you have to start somewhere. And when you go to work every day, you go with a good heart and a good mind that you're going to do 100% of yourself is going to be on that job during the time that you're there. And you're going to put 100% out. The back chatting and the bad attitude and the curling of the eyes and all the other stuff and the threats and the I don't need this job and blah, blah. That's not getting you anywhere. That's setting you up for failure. And there's another thing I want to remind some of the young ladies out there. Those of you who feel that you can go and have 4, 5, 6 children and then turn them over to NAU to assist you, or Children and Family Services, you're setting yourself up for even bigger failures, because business HR managers or business owners are looking at you and thinking, how irresponsible are you? I don't want to hire an irresponsible person who's constantly having children. Not saying it's a bad thing to have children, but you should know your limits, especially when it comes to your finances. You should not be having 4, 5, 6 children if you can only afford to have one. Okay, it's called condoms. They're $3.75 a pack versus $30 for a pack of Huggies. Or going to the government looking assistance to take care of your 5, 6 children. Unfair to the country, unfair to other people, because we are paying taxes in this country to cover that for you. And your children don't ask to be brought into this world in a destitute situation. They don't ask for that. So you need to look at your life. Think about what you're doing. Think about if out partying and having one night stands is going to benefit you in the long run, because businesses are looking at your irresponsible behavior. You may say, oh, that's separate from my work behavior. No, it's not. If you're an irresponsible parent, how are you going to be a responsible worker? Your children should be more important to you than anything in this world, and ensuring that their well-being is all taken care of under your responsibility. How do you think employers are going to look at you and think, oh yeah, I'm going to hire her. She has 5 children and all of them are being assisted by DCFS or NAU. How are you thinking employers going to look at you? They're going to think, my goodness, couldn't you have stopped at one? One? Anyways, what I'm trying to say is it's time for you to smarten up. Don't go out there and think that you're going to have all these kids partying with the $700 phone and tattoos all over you and hair weave, $700 worth of hair weave up in your head, and think that employers are going to look at you as being a responsible person and hire you while your children are being taken care of by either NAU, Department of Children and Family Services, or even the local charities. They're going to not be bothered with you. So you need to clean up your acts. Clean up your acts, become more responsible human beings. Stop relying on community and the society to take care of your mistakes or your irresponsibilities, because we're not going to continue to do that. No, there's going to be a time when that money is going to run out, and what's going to happen? There's going to be none. Your children are going to walk the street homeless, begging. How is that going to look on you? That's not the culture of the Native Caymanian either. We took care of our children. Your parents took care of you, and your grandparents took care of you too. So you need to act responsibly, and that'll help you get a job. Okay? All right. Now, I noticed in the newspaper, this is on to a different subject now. I noticed in the newspaper this week that the courts granted a gentleman had changed his passport. This is going into news because we've only got 7 minutes left. And talking about the courts giving him a blight, if you want to call it that, a hand slap for changing the dates on his passport. Well, when the immigration board turned down a work permit for me the other day, I ran an ad. 42 people applied with work permits and no work. You talk about an abuse of the system. And the immigration board said to me, in my turn, the letter they denied me. I didn't demonstrate genuine need. Me. Well, I did demonstrate genuine need because I sent to the ministry my timesheets and my transfers to my employee to their bank account, showing I had paid them and all the times they were working. Full schedule of work. So when I look at the system out there, I have to wonder who is making these decisions about certain small businesses. You can tell the people who are not genuine. I mean, all you have to do is sit in the lobby of immigration and listen to the stories of the people in there talking about, they're here looking work and a friend help them out by putting in the permit for them. You have people on permit putting in permits. But you didn't know that. Yeah, that is so. Anyhow, the point is, this man had overstayed and had changed his time in his passport, and the courts gave him 4 months to get his business in order. You think that would have happened to one of us if we had gone to court on a similar or parallel type of charge? No. They would have had us incarcerated. They would have stripped us of our travel documents, and we'd be waiting trial in custody. And I say all of that to say this. I keep following the courts. Although they don't publish a lot of the things, you have to actually go there and listen to some of the cases at times because they don't publish things. But the problem I have is that the courts certain magistrates and judges tend to slap the wrist of the hands of their own countrymen. And when it comes to our own people, you know, there was a lady who was incarcerated for stealing $35 in groceries from a local grocery store. This dude changed his passport date for a whole year, stayed here working illegally for a very long time. And he gets, sir, we're going to give you 4 months to get your papers in order and leave. And let me give you the twist and the downside of that. By only having that small sentence, at very light sentence, I should say, shouldn't even have been one because it was really of no worth, he can still come back to this country and apply for a job with a new employer. This is someone who's come to this country who has falsified his documents, abused the immigration law and the penal code, and he's allowed to remain. He's allowed to come back. He's leaving, but he's allowed to come back. You can tell when there's an order made for deportation. There was no order of deportation made for him. He was not made no persona non grata through the cabinet office or nothing of that sort. And this is a problem I have. We are continuing to recycle criminals in this country. Yeah, they keep coming back, and some keep recommitting and not given enough time to be banned completely from our country. And that's the saddest part of it all. Our people are stripped of their everything they've got. They're given a police record, depending on the charge, for life. They have to live with the stigma of that in their own community here. And an expatriate comes in and does it and gets to come back and gets slapped on the wrist and told, don't do it again. Sad. Anyway, that's just the part of the injustices that go on in our system, and that's what I am hateful towards. I don't like injustices. I know I went through a whole lot of it myself, still having to deal with the idiots out in the community constantly throwing it in my face. But thankfully, we have the spent convictions law, and I'm taking names and numbers, and I'll soon be dealing with them in court. Anyways, because at some point in time, you just have to stop. There's a law out there now that says you can't continue to throw a person's past in their face. And yeah, I know you're all thinking, well, I had a past. Yeah, I had a past. So a lot of us have a past. My past was very cruel, what was done to me. But I lived through it. And that's why I keep bouncing back out of all the crap they've done to me. Because it's all been lies. And it's like our Heavenly Father say, what the devil takes from you once, he's got to restore you 7 times. And my Lord is restoring me. And I'm grateful for that. That proves all of what they've said about me is all lies. Anyways, I thank you again for watching with me today. Thank you for joining me. Thanks to those on the live stream. Thank you to those that came on Facebook. Thank you very much. We'll be back again next weekend for chapter 3. This is chapter 2. Chapter 1 was a rant, so you don't have to watch it if you don't want to. But when I get all riled up over what's happening to my people in my country, yeah, I am not going to sit back and say nothing about it. The world needs to hear what's happening on the ground in this country. You know, we are all hurting, a lot of us. A lot of us can't get out of the holes that's been dug and we've fallen into. But I pray for you anyway. And I pray that we no longer have that crab mentality that we have in this country that's killing a lot of our good things, our goodness. We need to stop being crabs. We need to hold each other's hand and help each other up along the way, push each other forward. Not because you've made it that you shouldn't help someone else. There are times I don't have any money, but I still help other people with the little I do have because they're just unfortunate. Anyhow, you all have a blessed week, a successful week. Thank you for watching. This has been chapter 2. Chapter 3 will be very, very informative. I'm waiting on some FOIs and I'm going to release them and you're going to love it. Take care. Have a great week. God bless y'all.